Isabel Raimundo, seja muito bem-vinda. Caro Sr. Diretor do Centro de Língua Portuguesa em Goa, Sr. Delfim Correia da Silva, dear friends, welcome to Fundação Oriente. My words today go entirely to the team at the University of Aveiro, Portugal. Professor Susana Sarto, Professor Álvaro Souza, and Eduardo Falcão. We are here today due to work that you have been doing over the years. When work is done in a team, sometimes it's unfair to individualize. But I need to mention the key person in this project, Professor Susana Sarto. Susana started thinking and working on this project 30 years ago, when she received the first manuscripts from the Agapito hands. For years, she invested time and money to keep the documentation in a safe place. Susana conceived an idea, worked hard to get some support, and above all, never gave up moving forward with this project. In addition to the outstanding work done by Susana, this exhibition had the collaboration of several people and entities. Firstly, Agapito's family. Your support was very important during all this process. Secondly, the Gulbenkian Foundation for the financial support to digitize the manuscripts. Finally, Álvaro and Eduardo. I could see during the last 10 days your patience and commitment, which are reflected in this brilliant exhibition. So, thank you very much for bringing us more knowledge, culture, and music.
So we really don't know about the keys, and so we're going to try.
Yes.
Yeah?
Try.
This one is Doria Chalarani.
Everyone.
Everyone.
Sundri Majau Mr. Paulo Gomes, our host, Director of the Fundação Oriente delegation in India. Dr. Delfim Correia da Silva, Director of the Centro de Língua Portuguesa, Instituto Camões, in Goa. Dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by thanking Mr. Paulo Gomes, Director of Fundação Oriente in India, for inviting me to be present at this event and address a few words. I congratulate him for putting together this important exhibition. I also congratulate Professor Susana Sarto and the Institute of Ethnomusicology at the University of Aveiro for having conducted and completed this project with so much perseverance and dedication. The documentation of musical traditions related to the Catholic community in Goa, carried out with most care and attention by Mr. Agapito de Miranda during his lifetime, deserves this major achievement which we testify today. From now on, this collection can be seen and explored very easily by all through the means of modern communication. It is indeed very important to share with the world one of the most enchanted local traditions of this territory, so they cannot be forgotten, serving the common purpose of enriching the distinct identity of the Goan and Indo-Portuguese culture in the context of the vibrant Indian culture. I would like to add that the memory of traditions is as important as the gathering of new elements brought by all those who develop sentimental or other links with Goa, along with the contribution of those cultures with some affinities with both India and Portugal, such as the Portuguese-speaking countries, spread across 4 continents. In fact, Goa has always been a place where different people and cultures meet, open to the world, and so it should remain in the future, in a spirit of tolerance and harmony between ethnic groups, cultures, and religions. Thank you very much to all.
Thank you all for coming. And all dear friends, and also the family of Agapito, which are the most important people for me now to be here. So I can share some ideas, and I can share this work that we've been done during so many years. Well, this talk is called Agapito de Miranda, Goan Music and Culture Aficionado. Aficionado is a word that we use also in English, in Portuguese, in Spanish, and in many other languages. The ethnomusicologist Etty Malcolmson defined aficionado as, and I quote, non-professional or amateur hobbyists who possesses remarkable specialist knowledge and often display effective sentiment for a subject or activity. Akin to amateurs and fans, aficionados have been allied to sentiment. Etymologically, aficionado derives from the Latin affectio, to affect or influence. A relational affective link is implied between the Argentine epistemologist Walter Mignolo says all knowledge has its place of enunciation, which means that all knowledge is in fact situated. And we cannot read Agapito's work without inscribing it in the history of Goa, in the history of India, and in the history of the world, which also includes Portugal. We can see this in the timeline that was designed with a lot of patience by Albert and with collaboration, strong collaboration of Eduardo. Thus, the milestones of his biography on the timeline of this exhibition always follow the history of the different contexts that mark the history of Goa. Finally, we cannot understand the musical contribution of Agapito de Miranda without his inclusion in what Eduardo Falcão defines as the musicology of Goa, which includes José Pereira, Miguel Martins, António Costa, Lourdino Barreto, Lúcio Rodrigues, and many others. Since 1866, when the first publication dedicated to Goan music was printed in Goa by Miguel Vicente de Abreu, I'm referring to the local journal Urda Magazine, hundreds of other publications that also include scores have appeared in Goa. Some of them are just transcriptions or collections of scores, like those published by Luciano Rodrigues, the Mestre Rebecca of Agapito. In this case, it was a Mestre piano. Others include some ethnographic notes, but none are as exhaustive as what we have before us. Agapito was a true aficionado. He left us a legacy that constitutes one of the most important sources for the study of music in Goa in the 20th century, especially with regard to Catholic traditions. Because of his love of mandó, it's so beautiful, it's so beautiful, he told me many times in the interview. Agapito was affected by it, and at the same time, he affected mandó as a songwriter, researcher, and collector. And his work is now open to the world, and he will be continue to do so. We will have a platform that you can explore after this opening. So the platform will be here. It is settled at the University of Aveiro, but we are going to share it with the Central Library, where hopefully all these manuscripts will be deposited and open to all to see, not to touch, because they are really old. I like to end this lecture with his own words. When I asked him, because of this idea of being an aficionado, when I asked him, why did you dedicate yourself so much to mandó? And he answered, the mandó is so beautiful. What do you want me to say? It was a natural inclination. I've been telling Father Loreno de Souza, if you want to know if I'm alive or dead, sing a good mandó by my side. If I start moving, then I'm alive. If not, you can take and leave me in the world. So allow me, before I finish, to address some well-deserved acknowledgements. Firstly, to the Calouste Gulbenkian Foundation, without which it would be impossible to obtain fundings for this project. Then to the University of Aveiro and the two research centers, the Institute of Ethnomusicology, to which I belong, and the Institute of Design, to which my colleague, Professor Álvaro Souza, belongs. He conceived and taught with us this exhibition, to which he committed himself and was strongly dedicated. The two research centers mentioned above complemented the project costs, which, as you can imagine, were much higher than those granted by the Fundação Gulbenkian. I want to deeply thank Eduardo Falcão for appearing at the right time and for having embraced this project with me in such a professional and exemplary way. Thank you, Eduardo. A huge thank to Fundação Oriente for hosting this exhibition and for, in the person of its director, Dr. Paulo Gomes, having opened the doors for us day and night during the last 10 days. Without your help and complicity, it would not have been possible to get here. Finally, I want to thank the Miranda family for trusting me as their father did and for helping us get this project off the ground. I hope I have honored the memory of Agapito. And now finally,
Research that you have done today on these mandos in Goa was how difficult it was, and what do you want to say about these collections, that whatever research you have done?
well, one thing is the research I have done, because I'm working about music in Goa, not exclusively mandó, but all the process related to music in Goa.
since 1987. I already published a book and many articles about this, but in this case, what I was dedicated to try to digitize all the work of Agapito de Miranda, because he was also a local researcher, a person that made a huge work of collecting Mando. This is the biggest collection of Mando transcriptions from orality that we have in Goa. So what I've done was to organize it, to digitize it, to get funds for that, to classify everything that are in the manuscripts, along with my colleague, my student, PhD student Eduardo Falcão, and also the family. So what I think is that this collection is a very important source for research for everybody that is interested in studying music in Goa from the Catholic community.
There are different types of music in Goa. Have you seen any difference in music scores in Goa?
Sorry?
The different scores in Goa.
Different scores?
Yeah.
Different scores. Different scores about?
About music.
Yes, there are different musical genres, many musical genres in Goa. We may say that we have some musical genres that are, sang in Konkani, and so they are maybe much more related with the oldest traditions of Goa. We are speaking about Mando, Dekni, Fugri, Dalu, Dalgari, Zagor, Musor, a lot of musical traditions, not only Mando. Mando is the one which is much more connected with the West, we may say, because it's a choir music. But so it's a polyphonic musical genre. But we have also other musical genres in Goa that are performed as a polyphonical, with polyphony. So we may say that music in Goa is also an encounter between the East and the West. Goa is a very cosmopolitan place according to music. We have here Latin American music, Brazilian music, Portuguese music, Hindustani music, African music, even Cape Verdean music, who are entered in the repertoire of the Goans. So this is why this is a very important. Goa is a so interesting and amazing place for people who wants to make research. And but for me, the most important thing is to analyze and to understand how music in Goa organizes the society. Not being the reflex of the society, but how it organizes the society.
How you see Mano in Goa? Is it still alive now? Or
it is alive. It is alive, of course. But we cannot speak about Mando here as we today, as we spoke, as the same Mando of 1987 when I started to research here in Goa. So I'm very lucky because I'm doing a kind of lifelong field work. So I return to Goa almost every year. Sorry, unfortunately not every day. But what I see is that there's a huge difference on the performance of Mando when I remember when I see my recordings in 1987 and the recordings, the contemporary recordings. And also Mando is changing a lot. It's being transformed in a kind of monodic song, because in order to sing Mando we need a choir. Sometimes we don't have a choir. What is very interesting, for example, when we go to the Fado and Mando house, Madragoa, is that sometimes Sonia Shirsat is singing alone with the gumot and the guitars. Of course, we can listen to the polyphonic support of the Mando, but she is singing with alone, with no other voices with her. This is also a very interesting process, because sometimes in order to keep alive music, we need to change it, and this is not necessarily a bad option. Is the option, the possibility to keep the music alive. But now with this, the manuscripts of Agapito, it's interesting. Is also they are also very helpful for us because we can compare the performance of Mendel today with the Mendel that he registered in his manuscripts. So even with this proposed, the manuscripts are very helpful.
Are these similar to Portugal?
We don't have Mendel in Portugal. Actually, Mendel is, according to me, was a very important tool for Goans to resist to colonization. Because, well, the Portuguese, they imposed, I see they because I'm a Portuguese, but I was not the colonizer. So they imposed Western music to Goans. And they adopted Western music, and they created new genres using Western music base. But what is important and interesting is that those new genres are sung in Konkani. So only the Goans could understand what they were singing, and the Portuguese, they could not understand. So it's a very clever thing because it's very aesthetically, it's very pleasant for the colonizer, but they could not understand what they were singing. So I think we should see the Mendel as not as a copy of the West, but as a tool for resistance, for the imposition of the West.
So you can say it's the original of Goa, Mendel.
I never saw Mendel performed in other places, and sometimes people like to say that it is similar to Fado in Portugal, or it is similar to Morna in Cape Verde, but I think we are forcing some kind of comparison. Mendel is unique in Goa. We have also Mendel in the Mao, as you certainly know, but the name is the same, but the performance is completely different.
It includes with dance.
And includes dance, but can be performed without dance. So it can be independent of dance.
But a fruitful one, Pai has fondly called our father Agapito de Miranda, loved what he did and did it with passion. His works are so surprisingly diverse that they are bound to spring surprises even now. Pai had one theme a trend to his works, documenting Goan folklore and culture for posterity. His focus was the documentation of Mendel and its various nuances, but he left no stone unturned to also talk of other aspects of Goan culture like the Pugli Lalo, etc. Goan culture for Pai was meant to exist only in the pure form. While he appreciated creativity, he rejected attempts to interfere with the very essence of Goan culture. His manuscripts speak volumes about this and his other ideas. Today, we have reached that pinnacle. This time when Pai's work will be available to all of us at the click of a button. A project that was started in the 1990s while he still walked this earth has now seen fruition. We look up with both pride and excitement to the treasures that truly belong to Goa. The treasures returned by forgotten devotee of Goan music is now going to be remembered forever. The digital era has brought in some wonderful moments. Pai's work now belongs to any individual or group that is picked by Goan music and culture. We are happy to dedicate his works as a bouquet of love from Goa and Goans to culture enthusiasts and researchers from world over. What triggered the project way back in 1990 was a meeting with Professor Susana Sarto. Though there were many difficulties to encounter and many hurdles to jump over, Professor Susana kept going with the sole goal of giving this rich heritage not just to Goa, but to the world. And a few years ago, Professor Susana teamed up with a young researcher of Goan origin, Carmo. This, along with the support of Fundacao Calouste, Gulbenkian, and a team from the University of Aveiro, including Professor Souza, Portugal, along with the Institute of Ethnomusicology Research Center of Music and Dance, ensured that Pai's work has got their well-deserved due. Our family is eternally grateful to them all for giving the world this rare opportunity of accessing rich literature of art right at their fingertips. Pi knew and announced from within his heart that Goans and music were inseparable and even explained. Goans grew up caressing music from their birth through the whole lifespan of their existence in the world. Living this Goan virtue right up to the day of his death on 18 January 1995, Pi was inseparable from the Gumot and his exuberant love for the Mando and the true flavors of Goan music. He also was strongly believed that true lovers and enthusiasts of the previous legacy of our ancestors should not waste time, nor slacken their efforts to obtain the needed elements from the existing custodians of the older generation, nearing the end of their pilgrimage on this world. He was adamant that the tradition should be carried down to the next generation, and each generation has a duty to make sure this happens. The digitalization of his work really fulfilled his cherished dreams. I would like to call upon the youngsters of today, take this forward, be the custodians of our culture, find the true nuance of our Goan ethos, and pass it down to the generation to come. That will fulfill Pi's vision for that I dare say, music infested Goa. That's it.
The platform is settled in the University of Aveiro, but we prepared an agreement with the Central Library, and I don't know if the director of the Central Library is here. He was also invited to be here. And so there's a lot of information here in this platform, and also we overused some of the draws of Agapito to sign well. And we have also here the timeline, which is a little bit difficult to put here now, so we cannot see it now, but we can see it in a moment. Then, when we go to the work, we can. Hello?
Hello, yes.
I always see this in the laptop. Being researched by one of my students, PhD students. She's in Germany, and she's a specialist in flutes. So I sent her a message and with a picture. Please say it's the flute from the first half of the 19th century, and it's very interesting to see the luthier, the constructor of the flute, because he was a specialist in other kind of wind instruments and not flutes. So she is now very interesting to see how this flute around called doctor of violin for the rest of the east of India. And Dharmapur was one of the center of this. One of his draws is a very interesting book, short, small book. It's a booklet about shoes and the tradition of wearing shoes in Goa, the different kind of shoes. This is Miguel Historia. It's a collection of historical, some of them are books, so you can see how lovely he wrote music scores. So this is 6 volumes
Son of Agapito de Miranda, and his work is spoken about today, and Professor Susana Sarto has started after completing the research through Mr. Eduardo de Carmo. Today, the exhibition has been opened, and all his work will be available on the net from today onwards, just as it has been inaugurated, and it has been released today. So everyone will be able to know who is Agapito de Miranda, because he did research right from the 50s, and he was alone in house, he was alone writing and going to the libraries, collecting. So he has got a collection of mando and technique and purports and anything to do with music, Goan music. So Professor Susana Sarto decided. So she decided that let the world know how much of the research has been done on the Goan music, not just the mando, but whatever music, but his work on mando and how many types of different mandas you can see. Everything was much before any book was published. But at that time, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, there was not much opportunity. So he kept on, he knew music. He used to play the violin, he used to play the flute, he used to play the piano. And he was an exponent in how to play the Goan. And for Mando festivals, he participated with us, and he was a lomotif, the one who plays the Goan. So he was exponent because he has shown how many beats are there. The 6 beats in the mando, and how one is silent, and the 5th how it is the most prominent. All this work that many others may have taken the credit, but he has patiently done the research. He has been open to the public from today. After the research, the original manuscripts were given to Professor Susana Sarto, a professor in the University of Aveiro, in 1992. He died in 1995, and after almost more than 30 years, he is seeing the light of the day. Because the one who has done the research under her guidance is Mr. Eduardo of Goan origin, but born in Brazil.
I have nothing prepared. Working on the project, so I have met Susana and the family since 2018. So it's a long journey that now we have the fruits. It's a wonderful work, and we would be able to do all this work without the family. So it was very important to meet the family every week. There was a period of time that every week I was there at their place, and we were talking, and each time we were getting the trust of each other, and we were talking more about music and the music of Goan. And I think because my father is Goan, so they trust even more in me, and this is somehow how the project has developed.
So you are happy finally?
Yes, but this is just one output. Still have the PhD thesis now out to finish. Okay, thank you.